Let's get straight to our next, Kayleigh McEnany, White House press secretary. All right, Kayleigh, first off, the Supreme Court allowing Pennsylvania to count mail-in ballots received after Election Day. I think that ensures chaos. What about you?
Yeah, we think so too, which is why we argued against this in court. Notably, though, we did win on ballot harvesting, so that's a win certainly. But we think that the vote should be counted on Election Day. That's the way it should be, and we want a fair, free vote of the American people that's accurately encapsulated by the ballot count.
But you're not going to get that in Pennsylvania. That is a swing state. It's a vital state. So, I mean, this would really, look, in my opinion, it interrupts the free flow of a decision in the election. And I don't think that's good for anybody.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right on that, Stuart. You know, this mass mail-out voting is a huge problem. And then when you, on top of that, extend the deadline, we saw what happened in New York when they did this, where ballots were not postmarked. So they were literally counting ballots that were coming in after Election Day. This is chaotic, and the American people truly deserve better than this.
Now, the Trump campaign wants foreign policy as a topic in Thursday's debate. At the moment, it's not one of the topics in the debate. Can the president get it included?
Yes, he certainly will be putting those points in there. But look, President Trump ensured that foreign policy would not be a topic in the debate when he made Middle East peace not once, but twice. No president has ever done that. So when you have Middle East peace by President Trump, you can pretty much ensure that the media will never talk about it. He's decimated ISIS. He will be bringing up these points, even if the Biased Debate Commission will not be making this the topic of the debate.
How about the muted mics? I think the president doesn't kind of like that, but he's going to have to go with it, I guess.
Yes, so he's going to go with it, but the president wants a chance to hold Joe Biden accountable. But look, the one upside of the muted mics is that Joe Biden will be forced to speak more than 30 seconds, and he will inevitably walk himself into a few disasters.
Okay. All right, straight at it there, Kayleigh. I can see what you're doing. All right, a lot of people tell me that they're voting against Trump. Not for Joe Biden, but against Mr. Trump. They don't like the language he uses, and just yesterday he was calling people idiots. They don't want our president to speak in that fashion. They oppose his persona. What do you make of that?
Look, this president's a fighter. I think that there's a lot of voters around this country who might not talk to a pollster, but who support this president. Stuart, I was with the president just over 24 hours ago in California, not a red state, and there were thousands of people, thousands lined on the street. We were just gasping at the kind of crowd that came out in a blue state. There are hidden Trump voters across this country, and make no mistake, they might tell a pollster one thing, but they are going to be doing much different, something much different when they get to the ballot box.
Could you reveal your own internal polls for us? I've asked spokespeople many times. They're never prepared to reveal it. But I put it to you, Kayleigh, it's make or break time. You've got 2 weeks to the election. We really want to know if those polls that you've got are really showing a Trump win.
I appreciate the effort, Stuart, as a member of the media, for you to ask that question, but we can't give our playbook away to the Democrats. But I'll say this, what your own Bret Baier said over at Fox, that the polls today are closer than they were in 2016. And we all know what happened on election night in 2016. I'll never forget where I was sitting there at the biased fake news network of CNN when I watched their faces melt as President Trump became the next president.
Do you think it is now or never? You've only got 2 weeks to go. He's got to move up now.
Look, he's there. If you look at the betting odds, they're closing. This president's on his way to victory. We've got 2 weeks, and it is honestly curious and a bit befuddling that the other candidate, Joe Biden, is off the campaign trail for 5 days. Look, the American people deserve better than that. President Trump's in 5 states over that time period. He will have traveled about 6,000 miles by air, while you have Joe Biden, who took a few steps to the ice cream shop.
Okay. You had COVID. You're back out in public. Can you keep up? Because you must be working 24/7.
Look, it's exhausting following this president, I'll tell you. You know, I got back at 11:30 last night, showed up here again at 8 a.m. It's exhausting, but this president's a fighter. He's more energetic than ever before, and here at the White House, we're just trying to keep up with him.
Kayleigh, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for coming back to us. We always appreciate it. See you soon.
Thank you, Stuart.